I thought I would do a video blog because I've not really had time to write since coming back from surf camp. There's been a lot going on, which is probably being made very clear from the blog post over the last month or so. And I'm just kind of having a wee moment tonight to be like, get it all out. I'm currently being fueled by my iPod. My iPod is my best friend just now. I've been listening to Hamilton the Musical, which is just, I love it. I think it's the best piece of musical theatre I've known since Les Mis, which I also listened to a ton when I was between the ages of about 10 until pretty much the rest of my life since. And oh, I've just lost my place. Oh yeah, I'm currently on my shot. I don't know if you can, the camera will pick up on it. It's blurry, but yeah. So yeah, that's where I am. So I have a much longer commute. I've got a sort of new job. Similar to the job I've been doing since November last year, but in a different place. And the commute is longer. It's about triple the amount of time my commute was previously, and it's exhausting and difficult because the hours are much different from what I was working before. So it's just taking a bit of getting used to, and it's been making me a bit grumpy because I don't get lunch and dinner always because of the times of the shifts and getting there and getting back. And by the time I get back, like tonight I got back home at about 9:15 at night, and had to like put all my uniform in the wash so it's clean for tomorrow. And I've got a job interview in the morning, which is in another city, so I'm going to go to another city in the morning, do the job interview. As soon as the interview is over, got to like run for the train. The trains are all being delayed at the moment because they're doing work on the train line and this one of the stations in Glasgow, so the trains are taking about half an hour longer than they would. Plus, there's less trains that are leaving or departing. Normally they depart about every 15 minutes, and I think they're only departing every half an hour to every hour at the moment. So yeah, if I miss it, it's going to be a big deal, because not only will I not just be like going in a train and then getting into work, I have to then get a train into the town centre and then a bus to where I now work. So yeah, hopefully it'll go smoothly and I'll be fine, but I'm slightly anxious about tomorrow. And also got to pray to heck that somewhere near the train station there will be food that I can buy to eat on the train coming back. So yeah. So yes, Hamilton is getting me through. I'm still got my books on the go. Took them to surf camp with me, and read a little bit, but it was surf camp and I was in the kitchen and I was doing first aid. And this year the girls' leaders' dorms were opposite both the boys' dorms, so it was a little bit noisy. Not much sleep was had. I lost my voice from using my no-nonsense guider voice, of doing the sort of get to bed, no duct taping your friend is not a good idea, let's stop breaking things, let's stop trashing the place, etc. So I'm still reading Girl Up, I'm still reading Mindy Kaling's book, still to finish The Library Cat as well. But yesterday, a book that I pre-ordered a few months ago came out, which you may well be aware of. This is how far I got through at lunchtime today, while I was eating my lunch before my shift started, between appointments. So, my friend's already finished it in Australia after texting me last night going, don't tell me anything, and he's now texting me saying I've finished, and I'm like, dude, don't tell me anything, which he's promised not to do. And then once I've finished it, we'll have a FaceTime, I think. and it'll all be wonderful. So he still needs to download Hamilton and listen to it and learn all the raps and songs. So I've not been blogging much. There's been a lot on my mind though. A lot of thoughts percolating. Stuff that's going on in the world. A lot of really crappy politics going on right now that feels like we're in a state in our world now where we're seeing history repeat itself. And I really didn't like 1930s Europe, or 1930s world in general actually, because we focus a lot on the Holocaust without realising what was happening in the Far East and things as well, and just the horrific stuff that went on there. And it's just not good. I feel like we're setting up in the way that certain people are speaking and that people are getting behind leaders that are just bringing in another form of Nazism. And that's terrifying because you're like, we teach this in schools all the time. Like, how could we not have learned from our past? And will we ever learn from it? And I think as well, there's a lot of pessimism in the world because people have news 24/7 in a way that didn't used to happen. We don't just have a nightly news broadcast in the evening after dinner and our daily newspaper in print. We now have Facebook and Twitter, and we have 24-hour news channels, half of which is the same news, like just repeated over and over again, which is fine, whatever, but there must be like happy news to report on as well as the same depressing headline to scare people and to do it to death and to speculate and cause bigger issues. Maybe starting to rant here. And we have blog sites, different YouTube channels, and so much. There's just so much. Yet we still have a horrific amount of bias in the news that we report and the way in which it gets reported as well. And I think that's a problem. There's people saying things like, it never used to be like this. We have a situation where children don't go out and play, and we're afraid from them all the time. And a lot of the things we're afraid of for them were there decades ago. But it's just that we hear about stuff like kids being murdered or kidnapped. We hear about bombings. We hear about, just horrific things that should be things that scare us and disturb us. Because if they don't, there's a bigger issue. But I think we need to keep some perspective in that the majority of the world is full of good people doing good things. And these are the minority. And if we let the minority become the loudest thing, we're going to live life in fear and they win. And I don't know how we change that. But I would like to be part of helping make a positive change to that story. So, and then there is Ghostbusters. So I've gone from horrific news to Ghostbusters. I went to see Ghostbusters last night with my friend, and before I went, I was a bit dubious because I loved 80s Ghostbusters. Like, I'm a bit of a nerd and a geek, clearly. I love Marvel comic movies, I loved Star Wars, I love Ghostbusters and Ferris Bueller and E.T. and all these sort of classic 80s films. And so when I heard they were remaking Ghostbusters, I was like, do we really need a remake? Like, I don't want you to remake Grease and Fame. Just keep the thing. But then when I heard that they were doing it in a different way and it was for women, I was really excited because growing up, there was just so much that we were told as girls, whether it was spoken or just a subliminal message from our media, that there was just certain things that girls couldn't be part of or women can be part of. And one of them was be a superhero. Like, all the superheroes that we saw on TV and cartoons, it was all male dominated, and if there was a girl, she was like a token character. She was quite often a bit dense or just really uncredited for her intelligence. And here we had a movie where 4 women were going to be a part of it. Now, the 4 comedians that were in it, I love comedy and I love some of these actresses, but some of the stuff they've done before have been stuff that I don't like. Like, I'm not a huge fan of the film Bridesmaids. I went to see it. I really did not enjoy it and never wanted to see it again. And that's not because, like, the film's bad. It's just not to my taste. I have friends that love Bridesmaids, and that's fine. We don't all have to have the same tastes and opinions. It's the amazing thing about art is that there's something for everybody. However, what really bugged me was men saying that it was going to ruin their childhood and, oh my goodness, women doing it. And I was just like, okay. So we went to see it. It was incredible. It was so well done. I loved it. I came out totally hyper and bouncing, and as my friend pointed out on Twitter, also singing, because I think I was singing the Ghostbusters theme tune as I was coming out the cinema door, and we took a selfie with the Ghostbusters sign in the cinema foyer. And what made me really happy, actually, and probably made me really make sure I saw it, was that I work a lot with children, and in my current work, I'm selling toys, and some of them are Ghostbusters themed just now because of the film being out. And I had kids coming up to me telling me how amazing this film was and how I had to go see it. Now, that wasn't just girls, that was boys as well. And, you know, they're pretty honest, our kids. So I knew that I was like, okay, there's kids coming to be like, come on, you have to see Ghostbusters, it's amazing. Like, I loved it, and almost giving me spoilers, which happened during Star Wars as well, and when that came out before Christmas. So, in your face, guys who've been naysaying Ghostbusters because it's not ruined their childhood, and I loved the films, and the fact that the actors, I think all the main actors had cameos at one point or another during the film and gave their blessing. It was executive produced by Dan Aykroyd, so they clearly don't have a problem with it. Yeah, if you don't like it, you don't like it, but I think it's incredible, and I'm really glad that we have J.J. Abrams and Paul Feig and directors like Joss Whedon as well, who are not afraid to take risks and have women at the forefront. And I wish in some of the Marvel films that it wasn't just like a little cameo from Scarlett Johansson being Black Widow. Whereas we've got Thor and Captain America and Hulk. I love them all, but I wish there were more female superheroes that were just as good as the guys. And here we had a film where the women were taking the lead, and it just flipped everything, and it was just done in such a clever and intelligent way for a film that was silly and not particularly all that intelligent at all, because it's Ghostbusters. It's not meant to be. It's meant to be like icky and slime and ghosts and scary and silly, and you kind of know what's going to happen before it's going to happen. You can kind of see it coming. But that's part of the fun. So, well done, ladies, and Paul, and Chris Hemsworth too. That was awesome. So that's where I'm at. Job interview tomorrow. Keeping going. Trying to get my flat sorted. Hoping to blog more at some point. And reading Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. Quite disturbed by what I'm reading in it too, but I won't give any spoilers, don't worry. And loving Hamilton the musical, and wishing that I could get my own Love is Love t-shirt, but at the moment I can't afford to buy one, so because I'm using all my money paying for food and it's festival time, so that's probably going to put me in some debt as well for September. Goodbye, blog people, blog readers, blog watchers. I'm not sure what to call this, but I hope you're all well, and yeah, Paul left would like to say goodbye. He's hanging out with Pie Bear, still in a bunny onesie. They've been my pillows coming home from work for the last week. I fell asleep on them last night when I should have been like making dinner and doing other things. So yeah, I better go and get my washing out of the machine so it's dry for tomorrow, or has a chance of being semi-dry for tomorrow. We'll see what happens.